Hey everyone, welcome to our first vlog. With the Formula One Singapore 2024 just around the corner, we thought it'd be timely to share our experience from last year's event. We do hope you can get some tips and pick up a thing or two from what we're about to share with you. So we actually bought our tickets through Global Tickets, link below. Now to be honest, they've now been our go-to when it comes to F1 tickets, as they usually have ticket allocations with great seats. Unfortunately, during this time, when we checked the Singapore Formula One website, there were no longer that many tickets and seat options available. So our main purpose for visiting Singapore last year was to just watch the Formula One Singapore Grand Prix 2023. Now for F1 fans, you would know that it's a 3-day event from practice sessions to qualifying and of course, race day. Now we didn't book any other activities to really fully immerse ourselves in the F1 experience. So living in Clark, with our own international airport, it just made things easier. We booked a direct flight via Scoot and traveled from September 14th to the 19th. So our flight to Singapore was approximately 3 hours and 40 minutes. Departing from Clark was smooth and hassle-free, with everything on time as usual. So when we got to Changi Airport, the first thing we saw was none other than the defending champ Max Verstappen and Checo from Red Bull, who dominated the 2023 season. By the time you're watching this, you probably know they won both Constructors and Drivers' Championships. And I think they were there for a Red Bull commercial, given the production staff around. This was such an incredible treat for first-timers like us, and to make it even more fun, both Checo and Max did a friendly race using what it looked like airport ground vehicles. Now I think it might have been a collaboration with Changi Airport. So what a fantastic start to our trip. So we didn't finish exploring the airport because we wanted to get to our hotel and settle down, but not before grabbing a little something from Starbucks at the airport. We arrived the day before the opening gates on September 14th, so we spent some time roaming around the beautiful city of Singapore, especially around the track. As you probably know, Singapore is one of those F1 races that happens on city streets, so they close most parts of the city, and it's also a night race, which makes the vibe even more special because of the beautiful lights showcasing the beauty of Singapore. So on our first day, we woke up early. The first activity, the Super Series, will start at around 2:10 p.m. So we had time to grab breakfast. We stayed at Hotel Boss, which had a wonderful restaurant called the Hainan Story. Everything we ordered was delicious. Our nearest gate was Gate 1, and it's one of the main entry points at the wharf area, where they also hold the driver's meet and greet. But since we roamed around first, we entered through Gate 8 coming from Marina Bay. At the time of our arrival, it was the practice session of the Porsche Carrera Cup, which was fun to watch. This was also why we didn't book any other activities in Singapore during this time, because if you truly want to enjoy your time at F1, you need to allocate all of your time to the event. So we spent some time looking around the track, and it felt surreal, especially seeing the pit lane for the first time. We've been watching F1 for years, and experiencing it live was incredible. The first practice session started at 4 p.m., but an hour before that, they held a driver's meet and greet in batches. So we got to see the McLaren boys, Oscar and Lando, Yuki and Liam, who was covering for the injured Daniel Ricciardo, and the Williams Racing team drivers Alex and Logan. The Aston Martin legend Fernando Alonso was also there, but we didn't see Lance Stroll. And of course, there was also Zoe and Bottas on the Alfa Romeo team, which is now called the Kicksober team. So the driver's meet and greet was actually 30 minutes long, and another lucky thing for us was that Williams Racing threw caps to the crowd, and I happened to catch one. Now after the driver's meet and greet, we actually went back to the track to watch the first practice session, but not before riding the famous Singapore Ferris wheel, because we're spontaneous like that. It was such an experience seeing the entire track from above and the amazing city of Singapore. We were just in time to see the first practice session, and the stories are right. It's truly different seeing than hearing cars live. Yes, it was definitely loud. FP1 was an hour from 5:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. and FP2 was from 9:30 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. So we had time to grab dinner before coming back for the second practice session. During the second practice session, we tried watching from a section with a turn to see the cars better. And at this time, it still hadn't sunk in that we were actually watching the event live. So on the second day, we woke up early to continue our routine of having breakfast and roaming around the city of Singapore. We passed through Marina Bay again, where we saw the Ferrari F1 car displayed at the Marina Bay hotel lobby. And then when we got to the event, it was the second batch of the driver's meet and greet. Now, this one was really special because we saw Team Ferrari, Charles and Carlos, and the Mercedes-Benz team with George Russell and the legend Sir Lewis Hamilton. My girlfriend, a diehard fan, and I waited at the stage to secure a good spot to see them. And thankfully, it worked. We really got to see them up close, and it was such an experience. And after the driver's session, we went to secure a spot for FP3 and qualifying. We managed to find a really good spot just on the turn coming into the pit lane straight. Everything was going well until boom, a huge crash in qualifying. Lance Stroll of Aston Martin was pushing hard to make it in Q2 when he suffered a snap of oversteer after running over the curbs on the final turn. Thankfully, he walked out in one piece, but seeing that live, especially at the turn we were at, was definitely something. Qualifying ended with Sainz on top, followed by George and then Leclerc. There was a press conference after, but since we were already tired, we decided to skip it and get some rest. So it's finally race day, and waking up on race day was full of excitement. And as usual, we woke up early to roam around Singapore, and by chance, we actually passed by Raffles City Shopping Center, where they were holding events and activities for Williams Racing. And we took some time to look around and even participated in some of their activities, like a reaction test, and that was fun. We headed to the event after that. And a quick backstory, the day before, we realized the premier walkabout tickets we had was good for spectators who just want to feel the vibe of F1. But it's not really for fans like us who follow the season passionately. Premier Walkabout doesn't grant you allocated seats, so we decided to upgrade last minute for Sunday race day to grandstand tickets. And thankfully, there were still some available. And this gave us seats with view of both the pit lane and the podium box. So the race started at 8 p.m. and I gotta tell you, the pre-race build-up was insane. We even got goosebumps at some point when the cars went out. And when the race officially started, everyone was just on their feet. Now for those who followed the season last year, you know that Singapore was that rare and magical event where Max didn't win or dominate. Instead, we had Carlos Sainz as the winner because of his beautiful racing strategy. This was also his second Grand Prix win, making it extra special. He was followed by Lando, who also did something amazing here if you watch the highlights, and seeing Sir Lewis Hamilton on the podium in the top three was surreal. I couldn't even hear at this point as my girlfriend Chris was shouting throughout while he was on the podium. But yes, that does cap it off with our first Formula One Singapore experience. Everything was perfect and we couldn't have asked for a better experience. This event really raised the bar so high, and in my following videos, you'll see that we've attended the 2024 Japanese Grand Prix and we're able to compare the events. There'll be a link for that below. So we will be back again for the 2024 Singapore Grand Prix, so we hope to see you guys there.